Who am I?
Where did we come from?
What's God like?
If he does exist, does he really hear me when I pray?
Would he want to meet me?
Why do we suffer?
Where can I find hope?
God is closer than you think.
God is closer than you think.
I remember that he said to turn the other cheek, and he has told us to try and go the extra mile.
He spoke to a lot of people. He spoke of forgiveness, he spoke of love.
Do unto others as you have done to you, and that kind of stuff.
And there's a picture of him sort of sitting open-armed and the children running into his arms. I think that's something, again, you know, it's the love that's there, there's the forgiveness that's there.
He did stuff like walking on water, healing the sick.
I just feel that a lot of things that Jesus said so many years ago are still relevant to us today.
The words that come to mind are, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. The words that he said while he was on the cross. They're probably the words that changed my life.
No serious historian doubted this man, Jesus of Nazareth, existed. But what is even more baffling is that he just doesn't seem to go away. 2,000 years on, thousands of miles away from where he was born and where he lived, what is clear is that we can still stop random strangers in the street, and whatever their opinion might be, everyone here in this little quiet corner of Britain knows his name and seems to know something about his life. This simple carpenter, a first-century rabbi or teacher, this Jewish man crucified by the Roman Empire, who now has devoted followers spread all over the world who are still growing in number even today. He's incredible when you think about it. This man who never wrote a book. He never sought to gain any type of position or political office. In fact, he downright rejected that path to power. He never commanded a great army. In fact, he never did any of the things that usually make the headlines on the pages of history. He died at the age of 33, nailed to a wooden cross, a first-century instrument of public torture and execution, the worst capital punishment that Rome ever dreamt up for those who wouldn't bend to the empire's will. His enemies were there, rubbing their hands with glee, confident that this would be the end of his memory and a powerful example to any of his followers who might seek to continue his movement. And yet, here we are. 2 millennia have come and gone. The empire that killed him are now themselves relegated to the history book, and yet the name Jesus is now more famous than ever before. Even our history stands divided into two, BC and AD, as if time itself has needed to be reclassified, as if the world has entered a new era, somehow different, forever changed by this one man. This Jesus of Nazareth still refuses to just go away. Question: why? What is it about this single life, this one man, that has so fascinated the human race for so long? What is it about him that continues to demand so much attention, that commands such loyalty? What is it that has never ceased to captivate, inspire, and enthrall countless millions from every race and rank, colour and creed? Sooner or later, you have to ask the question that so many people have asked before: just who is this Jesus? C.S. Lewis, the much-loved author of the Chronicles of Narnia series and many other books, was a devoted follower of Jesus and wrote many other books about his fascination with him. In his book, Mere Christianity, he writes this: "A man who was merely a man and said the sorts of things that Jesus said would not be a great moral teacher. He would either be a lunatic, on the level with the man who says he is a poached egg, or else he would be the devil of hell. You must make your choice. Either this man was and is the Son of God, or else a madman, or something worse. You can shut him up for a fool, you can spit at him and kill him as a demon, or you can fall at his feet and call him Lord and God. But let us not come up with any patronizing nonsense about his being a great human teacher. He has not left that open to us. He did not intend to. When faced with the evidence of Jesus' life, you do have to conclude that he was either really mad, really bad, really good, or really God. Was Jesus good? Was he simply a good man, a great moral teacher? His words have lingered on in our culture. Was he just another spiritual leader, able to capture the imagination of our souls and cause us to aspire to be better people? It's an important question to ask and a comfortable conclusion to reach. But Jesus' words aren't just about how we live or how we love, but a radically new way of viewing God. Jesus said things like this: I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Before his death, he said, I am going to prepare a place for you so that you can go where I have gone. Jesus invited people to trust him, not just with their life, but with their death too. He said, if you will invest all your hope into me, then when you reach the place that we all must reach, when life itself comes to an end, I will be there. I will be there welcoming you into eternal life, a place in my Father's house. Not only did he claim that, he claimed to be the only way to that. And if that's not true, if he had no ability, no power, no right to claim that, then what he was offering people was false hope. Jesus could not merely have been a good man or a great spiritual teacher. To claim that, to claim to be the only one who could offer that and not be able to, he would have to be a horrible person. So was he? Was he really bad? Important we ask this, but also important that we ask why. If Jesus was deliberately misleading people, what did he have to gain from it? If he was a con man, what did he cheat out of people? At any and every opportunity, he walks away from power and money and sex and fame. He goes out of his way to avoid attracting any of those things before giving up his life to die on a cross. Why go to all that effort for no personal gain, only to be martyred for something you know to be a lie? Okay, so was Jesus mad then? Did he actually come to believe a lie about himself? Did he suffer from that kind of delusion that would convince a person they were more than merely human, that they were not of this world, that they had supernatural powers? It's an important question to ask and another comfortable solution to come to. But Jesus' words are still regarded, even by those who don't follow him, as some of the wisest and most profoundly beautiful words ever uttered. Do unto others as you'd have them do to you. Turn the other cheek. Let those who have no sin cast the first stone. Hardly the words of a madman, but someone who had a unique perspective on life and we as human beings seeing ourselves in the grand scheme of things. Then there were the miracles. It's one thing to claim supernatural powers. Anyone could do that. Something else entirely if you can make blind eyes see, deaf ears hear, lame legs walk, enslaved souls set free again, broken hearts love again. And yet Jesus does this time and time again. The stories spread like wildfire. Biographies of Jesus' life were written by those who knew him as well as those who didn't. And we know that about 30 years later, these were circulated in the very places mentioned in their pages. If the details weren't really true, if the people mentioned in them didn't really exist, if the major public moments didn't really occur, these manuscripts wouldn't have been worth the papyrus they were written on. But they survived, and the story lives on. He really did what he said he could do. Not the words of a madman, but the loving actions of a person who really could repair human bodies and lives with a power that can only be described as divine. So if he couldn't have just been a good man, and the evidence stacks up against him being really bad or really mad, who was he? Who is this Jesus? The question that now remains is, so what? Some of you may even be wondering if it's possible to know who this Jesus was after 2 millennia. But what if, to fully make up your mind about what you think about him, you need to see the final piece of the picture, which is what he thinks of you. Around people's necks, in cemeteries, funeral homes, hospitals, this symbol of the cross remains and offers hope to people at times of great need. But why? Its simple shape, one horizontal line meeting a vertical line, a 1st century Roman execution device. What hope does it have to offer people? Why does our culture still cling on to it? A letter to the early church in Rome contains these words: God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. The cross speaks of a God who doesn't wait for us to get the point, to get it right, but who steps into our broken world, our time, our space, our skin, and who demonstrates his love for us in paying the ultimate price for us to know him, dying for us while we were still sinners. Sin, this condition inside of us that holds us back from all we were made to be, this inherited instinct that keeps us back from the God we were born to know. Sin, this baggage of shame and guilt that weighs down our souls. The cross is the place where all of that gets dealt with, where what once went wrong is finally made right, and where we get to see how much he thinks our second chance is worth. The cross where Jesus died is the once and for all demonstration that when we couldn't lift ourselves out of our own mess, he loved us enough to give us his only son, who loved us enough to give his only life. And so the question becomes, so what are you going to do about it? Carry on without him. Ignore all you've heard. Live without his forgiveness, his care, his direction, or recognize him for who he is, as God and Saviour, Messiah, as a Messiah who came to your rescue and did for you what you couldn't do for yourself. Since the dawn of time, humanity has been haunted by this search. Every people group on the planet has asked the question, what is God like? How can I know for sure? What if, in Jesus, God was closer than you think? What if he really could do all that he said he could do? What if he really was all that he said he was? What if he can do for you all that he said he could do for you? Could he really be God in the flesh? How would you know for sure without meeting him yourself? Who is this Jesus? Think about it. Talk about it. Question.